Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you're into rare coins, fascinating history, and stories that sound almost too incredible to be true, then today's video is going to blow your mind. We're going to talk about the 1966 Washington quarter, a coin millions of people have seen, used, or ignored for decades. But among all those coins, one rare example shocked the coin world when it sold for a massive $1.6 million. That's right, a 25-cent coin from 1966, believed to be just another piece of pocket change, turned out to be worth over $1.5 million. So how does something like this happen? What makes the 1966 Washington quarter so special? And how can you tell if you might be holding one of these rare and valuable pieces? Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter was introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design featured his profile on the front, created by sculptor John Flanagan, and an eagle on the back with outstretched wings. This classic design remained the standard for decades. Fast forward to the mid-1960s, a very turbulent time for U.S. coinage. In 1964, the United States Mint stopped producing silver quarters due to rising silver prices and a national coin shortage. Beginning in 1965, quarters were made using a new copper-nickel clad composition, a cheaper alternative that helped reduce costs and keep coins in circulation. This new clad quarter had a copper core and a layer of nickel on the outside, and it weighed slightly less than its silver predecessors. In 1966, the Mint was still adjusting to this major change. To control the coin shortage and discourage hoarding, they made another big move. No mint marks were used in 1965, 1966, or 1967. That means you won't see a P for Philadelphia, a D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco on any coins from those years. Every quarter from 1966 looks the same at first glance, but in that sea of sameness, something unusual happened. Somewhere along the production line, a very small number of quarters were mistakenly struck on silver plancase left over from previous years. That should have been impossible, but somehow, a silver plancate from 1964 or earlier made its way into the coin press in 1966, and what came out was a silver Washington quarter with the 1966 down combination that was never supposed to exist. Collectors call these error coins, and in the world of coin collecting, mint errors can mean serious money. The 1966 silver quarter is one of the rarest and most desirable clad-era errors ever discovered, and when one of these coins surfaced, tested, authenticated, and graded in top condition, it set the coin world on fire. It eventually went up for auction, bidding started strong, and within minutes, it became clear that this was no ordinary quarter. The final selling price, a staggering $1.6 million. Now think about that for a second. A coin that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the ground ended up being worth more than the average home. And it all came down to a rare minting error and one person's careful attention to detail. So what should you look for if you want to find one of these incredible 1966 silver quarters? First, start with the weight. A regular clad quarter from 1966 weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter weighs around 6.25 grams. That difference might not sound like much, but with the precise scale, you'll notice it. Next, examine the edge. Clad quarters have a visible copper stripe running along the edge, but the silver coin will have a solid, uniform edge and no copper at all. Also, pay attention to the color and luster. Silver quarters have a brighter shine and a smoother surface compared to the duller appearance of most circulated clad coins. Another clue is the sound. When dropped on a hard surface, silver coins ring with a clear, high-pitched tone, while clad coins sound duller. If you think you've found a silver 1966 quarter, don't clean it, don't alter it, and don't take it to just any pawn shop. Take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can test the metal content, verify authenticity, and give you an official grade that could mean a huge difference in value. It's important to remember that 1966 quarters are not rare in general. The Mint struck over 800 million of them that year. Most are still only worth face value unless they are in pristine, uncirculated condition. But that's the thrill of coin collecting. Among those hundreds of millions of coins, a few hidden treasures might still be waiting to be discovered. So next time you're going through your change, don't overlook the old quarters. That 1966 coin might just be the one that changes your life. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more amazing stories from the world of rare coins and hidden treasures. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Who knows, your next big discovery might be in your pocket right now. Until next time, keep collecting, stay curious, and always check your change. Let me know if you'd like help creating a title, thumbnail idea, or short-form version for social media. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're into coins, rarest coins, collectibles, and unbelievable stories about hidden treasures, then get ready, because today we're diving into one of the most talked about coins in U.S. history, the 1965 Washington quarter. Now, at first glance, the 1965 quarter might not look like anything special. It's an everyday coin. You've probably held one. Maybe you've got a few sitting at the bottom of a change jar or stuck between the seats in your car. But here's the thing. Among the millions and millions of 1965 quarters out there, one incredibly rare version has sold for an unbelievable $1.7 million. That's right, a quarter, 25 cents, worth $1.7 million. And today we're going to talk about how that's even possible, what makes the 1965 quarter special, and what you need to look for if you want to find one of those hidden gems yourself. So let's rewind a bit and go back to the year 1965. This was a major turning point in American coinage. Up until 1964, quarters were made of 90% silver. But due to rising silver prices and a national coin shortage, the U.S. Mint made a huge decision. Starting in 1965, quarters would no longer be made of silver. Instead, they'd be minted with a copper core and a nickel outer layer, what's known as clad coinage. This new composition was cheaper to produce and helped the government stretch its metal supply. Now here's where it gets interesting. The transition didn't go perfectly. The mint was rushing to get new coins out to meet demand, and in the chaos, mistakes happened. Somewhere in the mix, a few 1965 quarters were struck on leftover silver planchets that were intended for 1964 coins. These silver quarters weren't supposed to exist. They were never meant to be released. But somehow, a few slipped through the cracks and made it into circulation. That's what makes the rare 1965 silver quarter so valuable. It's an error coin, a mistake. But it's not just any mistake. It's one of the most dramatic and desirable minting errors in modern U.S. coin history. One of these error coins was discovered by a collector who noticed that the coin looked and sounded different. Unlike the usual copper-nickel 1965 quarters, which have a dollar appearance and a distinctive clad edge with visible copper, this quarter had a bright, silver-like shine and no copper coloring on the edge. It also weighed slightly more than a regular clad quarter. When it was tested, it was confirmed to be 90% silver, just like a 1964 quarter. And that's when the numismatic world went wild. That one silver 1965 quarter eventually made its way to auction. With so much buzz around it, collectors from around the world started placing bids. And when the hammer dropped, the final price shocked everyone. That tiny coin sold for a staggering $1.7 million. Let that sink in. A coin most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the sidewalk ended up being worth more than most luxury cars, more than some homes, all because of one rare error and the keen eye of a collector who knew what to look for. So now you're probably wondering, how can you tell if your 1965 quarter is the $1 million version? The first thing to do is look at the edge. A regular 1965 clad quarter will show a visible copper band when you turn it sideways, but the rare silver version will note it will appear solid silver all the way through. Second, check the weight. A standard clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams, while a silver quarter from 1964 weighs about 6.25 grams. That small difference could be your first clue. Third, look at the shine and sound. Silver coins have a different luster and they ring with a higher pitch when dropped on a hard surface. It's not an exact science, but experienced collectors can often spot the difference by feel and sound alone. And finally, if you think you've got something special, don't guess. Take the coin to a professional dealer or send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can perform a precise analysis and certify whether you have one of these rare silver-struck error coins. Now, before everyone runs to their coin collections or starts checking their change at the gas station, it's important to understand that these coins are extremely rare. Out of the hundreds of millions of 1965 quarters that were made, only a few silver ones have ever been found. But that's what makes the hunt exciting. The chance, however small, that you might be the next person to find $1 million mistake. So whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just getting started, keep your eyes open. The next great discovery could be in your pocket right now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more about rare coins, valuable finds, and incredible tales from the world of numismatics, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. And as always, happy collecting and keep checking your change. You never know when you might find a fortune hiding in plain sight. If you'd like this turned into a short version or adopted for other platforms like TikTok or Instagram, let me know. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you're a coin collector, a treasure hunter, or just someone who loves amazing stories about rare finds, then you're going to want to hear this, because today, we're diving deep into one of the most surprising and exciting coins in American numismatic history, at the 1993 Washington quarter dollar. Now, to most people, the Washington quarter is just spare change. It's that common 25-cent piece that's been in everyone's pocket at one time or another. But what if I told you that one version of the 1993 quarter is valued at a jaw-dropping $1.2 million? Yes, you heard that right, $1.2 million. So how can an everyday coin minted in 1993 be worth that much? Let's take a closer look. First, a little background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design features the profile of Washington on the obverse, created by John Flanagan. Over the years, the reverse design changed, especially starting in 1999 with the State Quarters program. But back in 1993, the reverse still carried the original eagle design, wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches underneath. The 1993 quarter was minted in Denver, and if you look just to the right of Washington's ponytail, you'll see the little D mint mark. That year, Denver struck over 600 million quarters, which means these coins aren't exactly rare. In circulated condition, they're typically worth face value at just 25 cents. Even in uncirculated condition, most are worth $1 or $2, maybe a bit more if they're graded highly. So how does one of these coins reach a value of $1.2 million? It all comes down to a rare error and a unique series of conditions. In the world of coin collecting, mint errors can dramatically increase a coin's value. Things like double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, and other striking anomalies are highly sought after. And in the case of the 1993 quarter, one coin stands above the rest because it was struck on a 90% silver planchet, a type of blank that shouldn't have even existed at the time. Here's the deal. The U.S. Mint stopped producing 90% silver quarters for circulation back in 1964. Since then, all circulating quarters have been made from a copper-nickel clad composition. However, in rare cases, leftover silver blanks from older production runs, or from special commemorative issues, can accidentally make their way into regular circulation striking machines. That's what happened with this incredibly rare 1993 quarter. Somehow, a silver planchet A possibly intended for a proof set or special mint issue A was accidentally fed into the coining press at the Denver Mint. The result, a 1993 quarter struck in 90% silver instead of the standard clad composition. And not only that, but this coin was struck perfectly, with full details, sharp rims, and minimal contact marks. It eventually ended up being discovered by a sharp-eyed collector, authenticated by a top grading company, and certified as a one-of-a-kind error. When it went to auction, bidding was fierce. Hardcore collectors, investors, and numismatic experts all wanted a shot at owning this ultra-rare piece. In the end, the final hammer price, $1.2 million. That's right, a coin that started out as pocket change ended up becoming a $1 million collectible. Now, before you go tearing through your coin jars and flipping every quarter you find, let's be clear, most 1993D quarters are not valuable. They're still everywhere, and unless yours is in pristine mint state or features a rare error, it's probably only worth face value. But that's part of the thrill of coin collecting. You never know what rare treasure might be hiding in plain sight. If you want to check your own 1993D quarters, start by looking for anything unusual. Does it feel lighter or heavier than a normal quarter? Does the color look different, perhaps a brighter, whiter shine, like silver? If you suspect something special, it's worth having the coin weighed and tested. And always consult with a reputable coin dealer or send it into a certified grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. So there you have it, the incredible story of the 1993D Washington quarter that's worth $1.2 million. A coin that proves even the most ordinary objects can turn out to be extraordinary. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear more stories about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the fascinating world of numismatics, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Until next time, happy collecting, and keep checking your change, because you never know when you might find a fortune. Let me know if you'd like this tailored to a shorter video, or turned into a blog or social media post as well. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you're into coins, collectibles, or just love hearing stories about turning spare change into serious cash, you're going to want to hear what we're about to talk about today, because this isn't your average coin story. Rarest coins today. We're diving into the mystery and excitement behind the 1981p Washington quarter dollar, a coin that could be sitting unnoticed in your pocket, your drawer, or your coin jar. And unbelievably, one of those coins has been reported to be worth as much as $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.4 million for a quarter minted in 1981 at the Philadelphia Mint. How is that even possible? Let's take a closer look at the history of the coin, what makes it special, and how one single error turned an ordinary coin into a priceless rarity. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of the first president of the United States, George Washington. The obverse features his portrait, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. This design remained in use for decades and became one of the most familiar images on U.S. currency. In 1981, the U.S. Mint produced Washington quarters at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint coins can be identified by the P Mint mark, located just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Now, in terms of mintage, the 1981p quarter isn't especially rare. Over 600 million of these coins were struck and released into general circulation. So if you're holding a regular, circulated 1981p quarter, it's probably worth just 25 cents or maybe a little more if it's in really great condition. But here's where things get interesting. Among those hundreds of millions of coins, there's a tiny handful, possibly just one known to exist, that was struck in error, making it one of the most valuable modern quarters ever discovered. This specific 1981p quarter wasn't made from the usual copper nickel-clad composition. It was struck on a plankett meant for a Susan B. Anthony dollar. Let that sink in. A quarter struck on a dollar plankett. That means the coin is larger than a normal quarter, heavier, and made from different metal. It was a pure minting mistake, and mistakes like that are what collectors live for. They're incredibly rare, extremely valuable, and they almost always go to auction for sky-high prices. That discovery of this unique 1981p quarter caused a huge stir in the numismatic community. It was authenticated by a leading grading service and classified as a one-of-a-kind mint error. The surfaces were crisp, The strike was nearly flawless, and the coin's unusual size and weight instantly set it apart from every other quarter ever made in that year. And when it hit the auction block, collectors went wild. It eventually sold in a private sale for a reported $1.4 million, making it one of the highest valued modern-era coins in American history. And the best part, it was originally found by someone sorting through ordinary pocket change. That's the magic of coin collecting. Sometimes it's not about ancient gold or centuries-old silver. Sometimes the real treasure is hidden in plain sight. You just need to know what to look for. So how can you tell if you have a valuable 1981p quarter? First, look at the color and weight. If the coin feels heavier than usual or is slightly larger, you might be onto something. Most quarters weigh 5.67 grams, but a plankett meant for $1 would be closer to 8.1 grams. That alone would be a red flag that the coin was struck in error. Next, listen to the sound. Quarters have a very specific ring when dropped on a hard surface. A coin struck on a different plankett may sound different. A lower tone or duller ring could be a clue. Also, look closely at the edges. A coin struck on the wrong plankett may have an uneven or missing reeded edge. Any of these signs are worth investigating further. If you think you've got something unusual, don't try to clean it or mess with it. That can reduce its value instantly. Instead, take it to a certified coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can weigh the coin, inspect it under magnification, and determine if it's a genuine mint error. And if it is, you might be holding $1 million piece of American history in your hand. So there you have it, the amazing story of the 1981p Washington quarter, how one mistake turned it into $1 million rarity, and why you should always keep an eye on your change. This isn't just about money, it's about history, mystery, and the thrill of the hunt. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more rare coin stories, collecting tips, and surprising facts from the world of numismatics. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. And who knows, maybe the next $1 million coin is already in your collection. Until next time, happy hunting, and keep checking your change. Let me know if you'd like a short version for TikTok, Instagram Reels, or if you want this script translated or localized. Welcome back to the channel, Rarest Coins, where we uncover hidden treasures, rare coins, and unbelievable stories behind everyday items you might just have lying around your home. Today, we're talking about a coin you've probably held more than once without thinking twice. But one version of this coin stunned the numismatic world when it sold for an unbelievable $1.3 million. That coin is the 1990p Washington quarter. Yes, you heard that right, a quarter minted in 1990 in Philadelphia, worth over $1 million. So how does something that was mass-produced and circulated widely become so incredibly valuable? The answer lies in its history, a rare minting mistake, and a perfect storm of collectible qualities. Let's start with some background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design featured his iconic profile on the obverse, created by sculptor John Flanagan, and an eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. This classic design remained mostly unchanged until the state quarters program began in 1999. Now, by 1990, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for nearly 6 decades. The coin was now made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, a copper core with a nickel coating, introduced back in 1965 to replace silver coins. That year, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 613 million quarters. The P Mint mark, located to the right of Washington's ponytail, indicates the coin came from the Philadelphia facility. So with so many 1990p quarters out there, how could one be worth over $1 million? It all comes down to an ultra-rare mint error, or one that collectors dream about finding. In one extraordinary case, a 1990p quarter was struck on a plankett intended for a proof coin. What makes this even more fascinating is that proof plankettes are specially treated, polished, and prepared to create mirror-like surfaces and sharp detail. Proof coins are not meant for circulation. They're normally only struck at the San Francisco Mint and sold in special sets for collectors. Yet, somehow, Approved plan kit ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time. It made its way to the Philadelphia Mint, slipped into regular production, and was struck using circulation dies. The result was a hybrid coin, a 1990p quarter that looked and felt different, with a much higher quality surface and strike, unlike anything else that left Philadelphia that year. This accidental crossover of production methods created a coin that is not just rare, but almost impossible to duplicate. When this unique piece was authenticated and graded by a top-tier grading service, it received an ultra-high grade due to its flawless condition and incredible story. Collectors and investors jumped at the chance to own this one-of-a-kind piece, and it eventually sold in a private transaction for a reported $1.3 million. So how can you tell if your 1990p quarter might be the $1 million version? First, look at the overall surface. A regular circulated quarter from 1990 will show signs of wear, dullness, and average strike quality. But a coin struck on a proof plan kit will stand out immediately. It will have a mirror-like finish, sharper details, and possibly a slight reddish tone from the special metal prep. Second, check the edges. Proof plan case sometimes leave a slightly different edge impression than regular coins, due to the higher pressure and treatment involved. Third, weigh the coin. While most 1990p quarters should weigh around 5.67 grams, an unusual weight could be a clue that the coin was struck on the wrong plan kit entirely. And of course, if you suspect you have something special, don't take it to just any pawn shop or coin dealer. You need to have it examined by professionals. Send it to a certified grading service like PCGS or NGC. These companies can accurately identify minting errors, confirm authenticity, and assign the grade that will determine its true market value. Now, to be clear, most 1990p quarters are still worth only their face value unless they are in mint condition or feature unusual characteristics. But the story of the $1 million coin reminds us that rare errors and unique variations can turn the most common items into priceless treasures. So take a look at your spare change. Go through those coin jars, drawers, or boxes of old coins from relatives. You never know what could be hiding in plain sight. The next $1 million quarter could be sitting in your hand right now and you wouldn't even know it unless you look a little closer. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more stories about rare coins, collecting tips, and numismatic history, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another episode. Let us know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin or what treasures you're hunting for next. Until next time, happy collecting, keep checking your change, and who knows, your next big discovery might be right under your nose. Let me know if you want help with a catchy video title, a YouTube description, or social media clip ideas to go along with this script. Welcome back to the channel, Rarest Coins, where we explore the fascinating world of coins, rare currency, and the hidden treasures you might be carrying around every single day. Today's video is one you don't want to miss. We're diving into the story of the 1982 Washington $quarter, a coin that millions of people have seen, spent, or saved without ever knowing its true value. And believe it or not, one very rare example of this coin reportedly sold for a massive $1.5 million. That's right, a quarter, 25 cents, worth $1.5 million. So how does that happen? What makes the 1982 quarter so special? And what should you be looking for in your own collection or even your pocket change? Let's break it all down. To start, let's go back to the basics. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, the coin featured a profile of Washington on the front and a bald eagle design on the reverse. This iconic look would remain unchanged for decades. Now fast forward to 1982. This was a year of change and challenge for the U.S. Mint. Inflation was rising, metal costs were high, and the Mint made a key decision that year. 1982 quarters would no longer be struck for collectors in mint sets. That meant that all 1982 quarters were made for circulation only, with no special uncirculated versions packaged for preservation. On top of that, the Mint was also struggling with striking quality. which means that many of the coins from that year came out with weak details or poor definition. But there was another major change too. The mint transitioned to using a new font style for the coin's date and lettering. This led to two different varieties for both the Philadelphia and Denver Mint headquarters, the strong strike and the weak strike. The strong strike features bold, clear numbers in the date, while the weak strike is sometimes called the weak. For the Denver version shows a faint or barely visible mint mark. This variation alone makes 1982 quarters more interesting to collectors than your average modern coin. But there's one version of the 1982D quarter that truly stands out. A rare error version of this coin was struck on a copper plankett with no outer nickel layer. That means it was made from the wrong metal, a mistake that never should have left the mint. It looks different, it weighs differently, and it's composed of a material that wasn't meant for quarters. These kinds of minting errors are incredibly rare, and when found in top condition, they can sell for enormous amounts of money. One such 1982D quarter, struck in error on a copper plankett and discovered in pristine mint state condition, was authenticated and graded by experts. What happened next shocked even the most experienced collectors. It went up for auction and sold for a record-breaking $1.5 million. It's hard to believe something so small could be worth so much, but in the world of coin collecting, rarity, condition, and error type can create the perfect storm of value. So what should you look for if you have a 1982D quarter? First, check the mint mark. The D should be located just to the right of Washington's ponytail. If it appears very faint or almost invisible, you might have a weak D variety. These are collectible in their own right, especially in high grade. Second, examine the date and lettering. Strong strike coins from 1982 are easier to read and have crisp detail, but because of the striking issues that year, many came out weak. A strong strike in near-perfect condition is a standout find. Now, the real treasure is in the metal. If you suspect the coin is not made from the typical copper-nickel-clad composition, it's time to take a closer look. A standard 1982 quarter should weigh around 5.67 grams. If it's significantly lighter or heavier, that could be a sign of an error. A quarter struck on a copper penny plankett, for example, would weigh less and may have a reddish tint. Also, listen to the sound. Coins made from the wrong metal often sound duller or different when dropped on a hard surface. These subtle clues can be the first step in identifying a $1 million mistake. And of course, if you believe you've got something unusual, don't clean it or try to restore it. Take it to a professional coin dealer or send it to a top grading service like PCGS or NGC. They have the tools and expertise to verify authenticity and determine the exact type of error. Remember, millions of 1982D quarters were made, but only a tiny number carry the kinds of errors that lead to big money. Most are worth face value, maybe a bit more in uncirculated condition. But that's the beauty of this hobby. Sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone who knows what to look for. So check your coins. Look through that old change jar. Dig into your coin collection, because if you come across the right 1982D quarter, you might just be holding a small fortune in the palm of your hand. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear more stories about rare coins, hidden errors, and the history behind your pocket change, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Tap the bell so you never miss another upload. Until next time, keep hunting, stay curious, and always check your change. Let me know if you'd like a thumbnail title or script variations for TikTok, YouTube Shorts, or Instagram Reels.